There was a time when becoming a man was not so easy. It wasn't about brawn, money, or followers. The point was to stand the test, the moment that crossed out your childhood and left only the strength of the spirit. Take the Sataremawa tribe in the Amazon. When boys become adults, they must wear a glove filled with bullet, eating ants, insects whose bite is considered one of the most painful on earth. They don't put it on for a few seconds. They wear it for a few minutes, while the poison burns their nerves like fire. And they can't scream. They should stand straight, motionless, and silent. Warriors, not children. Only when the ritual ends does the tribe call them men. Across the ocean, in ancient Sparta, the transformation was no less brutal. Boys were taken from their families at the age of 7. They learned to fight, to starve, to freeze, to look death in the eye and not flinch. When they reached adulthood, they took part in the dance with death, a ritual that intertwined courage, pain, and honor. It wasn't a celebration, it was a test. Those who survived didn't just earn a title. They became the foundation of a civilization that was not afraid of anything. And once this transformation took place, there was no turning back. You couldn't go back to your mother's arms. You couldn't live in the comfort of childhood again. You were a man responsible for protection, creation, and perseverance. Your power no longer belonged to you. It belonged to your family, your people, your future children. In those days, becoming a man meant going through fire and coming out hardened, not burned. It wasn't about showing off. It was about becoming something indestructible. We don't have any rituals today. There are no elders. There is no fire that can burn weakness. We live in a world that makes you soft, where you can escape from any discomfort. You can distract yourself from any pain. You can take shortcuts from any problem. And because of that, most of them never really cross the line between a boy and a man. They're getting older, yes, but inside, they remain the same. They had never encountered a soul-forming storm. They have never learned to fight their fear, but only to hide from it. That's why this story is so important, because deep down you already know that something inside you is still waiting for this transformation. Something inside you is still waiting for your own initiation. So what happened to us? How can I fix this? How can you rebuild yourself in a world that wants you to remain weak? You start with discipline, not motivation. Motivation dies the moment it gets difficult. Discipline is what keeps you moving when your body says stop and your mind screams give up. Every push-up, every early morning, every moment when you prefer work to comfort, you are honing your skills. You're not fighting the world. You're fighting the version of yourself that still wants to quit smoking. Then the mind comes. Your mind is a muscle, but most men never exercise it. They fill it with noise, cheap dopamine, pointless arguments, and endless watching. You need to get rid of distractions before they make it impossible for you to concentrate. Start reading. Start thinking. Start learning what really strengthens you. Knowledge is not power, but the power of applied knowledge. Next comes the body. Your body is the foundation of your will. When you train your body, you're not chasing appearances, but creating evidence, proof that you can stand it, that you can control yourself, that you can do what you promised, even when no one is watching. A strong mind needs a strong vessel. They grow together. And finally, the character. The rarest quality in the modern world character is formed in those moments when no one will ever praise you. When you tell the truth, even if it costs you something. When you stay calm while others lose control. When you keep your word. That's what makes boys different from men. Becoming a man is not a matter of money or status. It's a matter of self-control over their desires, over your emotions, over his weakness. Because the modern world destroys people not with war, but with comfort. And if you can experience comfort, you can experience anything. So create your own rituals. Wake up before the world does. Practice when you don't feel like it. Learn when others are wasting time. Talk less. Do more. Be dangerous, but control yourself. Be calm, but never passive. Be kind, but never weak. And when you fall, because you're bound to fall, get up again. This is the only real test left. Every failure is another chance to prove that you're still in the fight. No one will come to save you. No one will come to make you stronger. It's your responsibility. And that's what makes you stronger.
One day, when you stand in front of the mirror, you will meet him, the man you are destined to become. He will look at you the same way a warrior looks at an opponent, calmly, readily, fearlessly, and you'll realize that he's always been there, waiting for you to show up. So the question is as follows: will you keep running away from him, or will you finally become one? Why does it seem to me that the fire that once made people steadfast has gone out? Why do so many boys grow up to be men, but they carry the same fears, the same insecurity, the same loss of control? The truth is that we live in a world that no longer teaches men how to become men. Rituals are a thing of the past. The tests have passed. The pain that once shaped us has been replaced by comfort, well-being, and endless amounts of dopamine. Our fathers, many of them were broken even before we were born. They were born after wars, poverty, and silence. They didn't know how to teach strength because no one had ever taught them that. So we grew up in houses full of noise, but without a voice to tell us what it really means to be a man. And when the father is not there, even if he is physically nearby, but emotionally gone, the boy grows up in search of guidance, in search of structure. He's looking for something to tell him. That's who you are. But instead of finding it, it finds the screens. He finds social media, games, fake goals, and a steady stream of artificial happiness. We live in the age of the dopamine trap, a time when everything from scrolling to gaming to short-term enjoyment fills your brain with false rewards. It makes you feel fulfilled, even though you haven't done anything. You level up your digital character, but your real life remains the same. For a moment, you feel pride, then emptiness again. It's not motivation, it's addiction. And this addiction kills what makes a person strong: concentration. Attention has become the rarest currency in the modern world. If you can't control your attention, someone else will. And right now, most men are slaves to their impulses. They can't sit still without picking up the phone. They can't reach their goal without retreating halfway. They can't look in the mirror without hating what they see, because deep down they know they've traded potential for comfort. And comfort is the slowest death in the world. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't cause a scream. It just dulls you, gradually, until you forget what real hunger is. That's why becoming a man today is more difficult than ever, because now the world is fighting against your growth. It tells you that you need to relax, Switch to something else. Love yourself, even if you haven't done anything to deserve that love. It tells you that ambition is harmful, discipline is oppression, and masculinity is outdated. But here's the truth. The world doesn't need soft men. He needs stronger men who can think, create, and protect. Men who can postpone comfort in order to achieve a goal. Men who understand that growth only happens through resistance. If you were born in this generation, you're not weak. You've just never been tested. No one has taught you how to sharpen your mind, how to manage your emotions, how to channel your energy. But that doesn't mean you can't learn. It just means that the battle you're facing is different. They don't fight it with swords or rituals of anesthesia. They fight it in silence every single day, fighting distraction, weakness, and apathy. Because in this world, if you can control your mind, you can control everything. And that's where the transformation begins. Tell me, do you still want to start tomorrow?
You don't even realize it, but your brain is being reprogrammed. Every sound, every flash, every reward in the game isn't just entertainment. It's a chemical reaction, a hit of dopamine, the same neurotransmitter that makes you feel alive, excited, and rewarded. But here's the problem. Your brain doesn't know the difference between earning a victory in real life and pressing buttons to get one on screen. It just releases dopamine over and over until you forget what true satisfaction even feels like. You're not lazy. You're addicted to instant reward. Games built a world where effort doesn't hurt and success doesn't take time. You lose for 5 minutes, then win big. You die, respawn, and try again, all within seconds. In the real world, that process takes weeks, months, sometimes years. So your brain begins to hate real effort. Why study when you can level up in a game? Why chase goals that take years when a virtual world gives you happiness every 10 seconds? That's the false dopamine system, a loop that teaches your mind to expect instant pleasure without real growth. It's like living on sugar instead of real food. You feel full, but you're starving inside. And the scariest part? Your tolerance keeps growing. What used to excite you for hours now bores you in minutes. You need more games, more noise, more reward, until the silence of real life feels unbearable. But dopamine isn't your enemy. It's the signal of achievement when used right. In real life, it's released after progress, discipline, and challenge. When you finish a workout, when you build something from nothing, when you win after months of failure. That's real dopamine. That's growth. Games showed you what it feels like to improve. But somewhere along the way, you stopped improving outside the screen. And the moment you realize this, you get the chance to break the loop. Because the greatest level up isn't inside a game. It's inside you. You ever realize how strange it is that we spend weeks, months, even years leveling up our characters in games, but we refuse to spend a single week leveling up ourselves in real life? In the virtual world, you grind for hours just to get +1 strength. You learn enemy patterns, upgrade your armor, collect experience. But in reality, when it comes to your own body, your own mind, you say, maybe tomorrow. That's the biggest illusion games give us. They teach us discipline, focus, patience, yet they trick us into using it all in the wrong world. I used to be that guy. Woke up, turned on the PC, and lost another day inside a digital dream. And the truth is, games felt safer than life. No rejection, no failure, just progress bars and rewards that made me feel like I was moving forward, even when I wasn't. But then one day, I asked myself a question that hit me like a truck. If I can spend 300 hours grinding in a game to make my character stronger, why can't I spend 30 minutes a day doing the same for myself? And that's where everything changed. See, games aren't the enemy. They're the mirror. They show you exactly who you could be. Focused, dedicated, relentless. Every quest you've completed, every boss you've defeated was training. Not for the game, but for life itself. Now, imagine two versions of the same person. The first one wakes up, opens his console, and escapes reality. He's a hero in every world, except his own. He fights digital monsters, but inside, he's losing the war against laziness, fear, and regret. The second one, he still plays, but differently. He uses the same principles, strategy, patience, consistency, and applies them to real life. He treats every day as a quest, every workout as a training mission, every setback as a boss fight he needs to learn from. And you know what happens? He starts to win. Not in pixels, but in progress. Not in loot, but in life. That's when I realized something powerful. The skills that made me great in games were never fake. They just needed a new battlefield. Because when you stop escaping into the digital world and start bringing that same energy into reality, you become unstoppable. You stop waiting for motivation to strike. You start building it. You stop chasing easy wins. You start creating your own victories. People laugh when you say games taught you discipline, but they're wrong. Games taught you how to fail, how to adapt, how to keep trying no matter what. That's not a waste of time. That's training for life. So the next time you turn off your PC or console, remember, you've already been training for years. You just forgot to switch worlds. In the game, your character levels up every time you face something difficult. In real life, it's the same. But there's no respawn button here, only the time you have left. In every game you've ever played, you've died hundreds of times. You've lost, restarted, failed again and again. But you didn't quit, did you? Because you knew the boss could be beaten. You knew that every death was just a lesson. You fought until you learned their every move. You adapted. You grew stronger. That's what made victory so real. Not because it was easy, but because you earned it. Think about the toughest bosses you've ever faced. Maybe it was Millennia from Elden Ring, dancing through your every attack. Or Sephiroth from Final Fantasy, a storm of fire and perfection you thought you could never defeat. They broke you, they humbled you, but eventually you stood over them, victorious, because no matter how many times they killed you, you refused to give up. Now here's the truth nobody wants to hear. The hardest boss you'll ever face isn't in a game, it's in the mirror. That version of you, the stronger one, the disciplined one, the fearless one, he's already there, staring at you, mocking you, telling you, you'll never reach me. You'll never have what I have. And he's right, until you decide to fight back. Every day you avoid your potential, he gets stronger. Every day you choose comfort over progress, he takes another step ahead. And the only way to beat him is to challenge him, to meet him face to face and say, I'm done running. Because that fight, the one against your future self, is the only battle that truly matters. And it's the one most people never start. So tell me, When will you start playing for real?